How you doing, guys? Back after 2 weeks on a little video hiatus, but back with you now. So quickly here, we'll go over what we have going on this week. This week is our third essay, and that is our argumentative persuasive essay. So really, whenever we write an essay, whether it be narrative, descriptive, compare, contrast, expository, whatever it is, you know, at least implicitly as a suggestion, we are always arguing something, right? We might not be outright arguing something, but we're always trying to get a point across, and we're trying to engage our reader and convince our reader that what we are saying is worth reading and listening to. Now we're doing that not implicitly, but explicitly in our argumentative persuasive paper. We are concerned with making a point and supporting that point, okay? And the point that we are going to make is a stance on a topical, maybe even controversial issue. I told you guys this last week. I would like you to stay away from the argumentative topics we've all heard of 1,000 times: abortion, gay marriage, marijuana legalization, lower the drinking age. Now, there are some that are pretty topical and potent in today's divided discourse. Let's see, one that I get really worked up about. I won't tell you this or that way necessarily, so as not to color your perception of me in terms of bias. But pronouns in terms of identity issues, language changing along with changing perceptions of people's identity. For example, non-binary. People who identify as non-binary, the compulsion of others to refer to that person as they, them, that is a matter of opinion. Do you agree with that? Do you not agree with that? Okay, do you think that that should, for example, be mandated by the government? There was a bill in Canada a few years ago that made it mandatory that you would need to refer to an individual according to that individual's preferred set of pronouns. So this is sort of under the general heading of LGBTQIA plus issues. Okay. So while gay marriage is kind of an old hat, it's legal, and it's not really. I mean, I suppose you could make an argument against it. Okay, it wouldn't be too interesting to read an argument for it since it's already legal. Okay, I don't let my biases color how I grade your paper. So let's say if you turn in an argument where you are just going rah rah rah, and it's something that I'm like, oh, I don't like that take. No, no, no. I grade your paper fairly based on your writing and how well constructed your essay is. I've read hundreds of essays about topics I don't agree with. I might push back in the comment section a little bit just to kind of get you thinking. But please don't think that my personal socio-political or religious beliefs affect how I grade. That would be unethical and unfair, of course. What I mean to say is, if you believe in something, if you are for or against something, let it fly. Don't worry about what I'm going to think about it, okay? Now, of course, there are extremes. You can't argue that murder is good, okay? Things like that. Don't be ridiculous and try to just, troll me or, do some hot take or something like that. Now, speaking of topics, there's only been about 5 of us out of 2 classes. Combine our classes together, we're at about 50, I think it's 59 students. One section's 25, one's 27. So roughly 5 out of 59. That's not a good ratio there for folks who have asked me if their topic is okay. So you're kind of on your own at this point because the essay's due by the end of the week, okay? So how are you going to argue this essay? No research. I don't want you researching anything on the internet or scholarly research. Scholarly research in Galileo That is our database house for all of our scholarly articles. That will be for next week. Next week, you're going to take this argumentative essay, or actually in a couple of weeks, I should say. And then you're going to start plugging in research that you find from scholarly articles. Okay, if you want to start looking at Galileo, you can do that. All right, you could actually click in. You'll see Galileo when you log into Blackboard, and you could go inside the databases, search up a topic. I would recommend doing that, playing around in there this week because you're going to need these sources next week. Okay, not this week, or I should say in 2 weeks you'll need the sources. In any case, not this week. This week is just you arguing the position based on 3 Greek words: ethos, pathos, logos. You may have heard of these before. It's basically how we try to argue points just naturally, okay? We try to convince our reader or our listener, our audience, based on logic, logos, okay? Rationality, sense-making, broadly speaking, okay? Let's see, let's just pull one out of the hat. It would not be logical for me to continue to let my hair grow out too much longer at my school at which I teach, a Catholic school, because my principal might start fussing at me that I need to start shaping up my hair. She won't, by the way. It's fine as long as it's groomed and well kept, but let's just pretend. If that is a policy and I just neglect it and keep letting my hair grow, that would be illogical. Okay, because I know what the rule is, and it would not make sense, it would not be rational and sensible for me to continue to violate that rule, right? It also wouldn't be ethical, ethos, okay? It wouldn't be right, okay? It would be wrong. Ethos has to do with good or bad. Think of that word ethical, ethics, okay? Ethics also has to do with character, credibility. For example, would you listen to a plumber advise you about really difficult medical or health information? Like if your plumber says, well, I'm here to fix your sink, but I'm also noticing that looks like you're 15 pounds overweight. You should go on a diet and get your cholesterol checked. You'd probably say, hey, who are you to tell me, give me these opinions or these, assertions based on my body? Who are you, some kind of a doctor? Who are you to tell me? No, you're not. You're a plumber. You don't have the authority, the credibility, the character to tell me that I should adopt some new attitude or diet or go to the doctor or whatever, okay? Ethos, okay? Then there's pathos. Pathos, think of sympathy, empathy, pathetic. Has to do with emotion, okay? So pathos is one of those ones, if you ask me, I think we use more and more today, especially on social media. Pathos to me is just like screaming and crying until you get your way. Like at the grocery store, the little boy, little girl wants a candy bar, they jump up and down. They don't have to make a logical argument. They don't have to make an ethical argument. They're just screaming and crying. That is pathos. They are persuading mom and dad, hey, get me the candy bar. I'm screaming and crying after all, aren't I? Okay. After all, mom or dad are just going to be like, ugh, enough with this. Here's the candy bar. Good Lord. Okay. Pathos is also using very evocative language. Like, I remember a few years ago when Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were campaigning, running against each other in the 2016 election. There was this commercial that kind of irritated me from Clinton's camp that was something to the effect of, our children are watching, okay, or so-and-so is going to die unless you do that, okay? So whenever you like make appeals to children or death, these are things that get us emotionally worked up, right? They're designed to get us emotionally worked up. So pathos has to do with emotion. So that is what you're going to argue based on logic, credibility, and right and wrong, and emotional, evocative, charged language, okay? Those make up your toolkit for your argumentative, persuasive essay, okay? Then you're going to add in a couple weeks research that you find. Excuse me, what have other critics, what have other scholars, what have other researchers, doctors, etc., what have they had to say about the issue? And you'll work those into your research enhanced version in a couple of weeks. Okay. Other than the essay this week, and the page length is the same, 2-3 pages, same format. Please keep that format in mind, guys. When I get a paper, when I get things that are handwritten, okay, you take a picture of them. Maybe for homework assignments, it's fine, but certainly not for an essay. You must type that essay in Word, submit it in Word, submit it in the submission area. Don't put your submissions in the comment section. Don't email me your essays. You have to submit it in Blackboard by the due date. That's really with everything. Some people have emailed me about, hey, this thing has happened. I understand that. There are extenuating circumstances. Sometimes we can't meet deadlines. I understand that. But keep in mind, you're running a risk if you email me your work. Because when I go to grade, ideally, I need everything in the little silo, okay? I need everything there. When I go to grade a homework assignment or a test, not a test, we don't take tests, but essays, I need everybody there so that I could grade onto the next, onto the next, onto the next. If not, I got to start searching hither and yon in my emails, and that takes up a lot of time. It's frustrating, it's annoying. And I have 111 students, my middle schoolers and you guys. So efficiency is the key. And plus, you guys need to know how to meet deadlines, okay? So, you know, if there's some extreme circumstance, of course I'm understanding, but still, if you email me something, don't expect, certainly don't expect an immediate turnaround, okay? And don't expect, credit, okay? If I think to get to it or remember to get to it, I'll get to it. But I shouldn't have to think and remember, okay? It should be there in Blackboard. That's why this is an online class. It's predicated on doing things on time and communication, okay? We have a blog this week. Otherwise, blogs are optional, remember, okay? The blog asks you to comment on our last couple units of reading, our descriptive readings and our argumentative readings. So Hazlitt, Swift, E.B. White, Bickman, Nguyen. So I hope you guys realize that the Jonathan Swift, and especially Swift, that was ironic. He wasn't, of course, sincerely and genuinely advocating for cannibalism, but that shock value is meant to get your attention, okay? It's kind of like being so frustrated about, let's say, homelessness, okay? And Swift touches on that too. Like, okay, why don't we just get all these homeless people and just, round them up and ship them off, okay? I don't really mean that. You could tell in my tone I'm being ironic. I'm being a little sarcastic and cheeky, okay? Now, if I didn't give you my actual prescription, no, in fact, what we should do is then you would take me seriously, that we actually should ship them off, okay? Just notice that Swift actually gives you his real prescription, his real solution to the problem, but he couches it in such a way where he's like, so don't tell me about all these other things we could do, like, trying to encourage people to buy local is essentially what he's saying, support your local economy, teach landlords to be a little more understanding, teach our population to be a little more humble and generous and not so vain and proud, okay? So he actually does give real solutions. We wouldn't teach this to you guys hundreds of years if it was just like, rah, rah, let's eat babies, okay? There's actually a funny clip online. You could search AOC. This woman was trolling AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York, raising her hand. She calls on her, and the woman says, I know what we have to do to solve the world overpopulation and global warming. We have to eat the babies. She was taking a page right out of Jonathan Swift's playbook, and she was being ironic about it. Poor AOC, I don't think she got the joke. It was kind of a sneaky little trolling thing there, but nonetheless, you could look that up. In any case, as I'm about to run out of time, our argumentative persuasive essay, that is due by Sunday. Blog is due by Friday. In that essay, you'll see in the announcement, no first-person pronouns. Not I think, I think, I think. I think this is good, this is bad. Just this is good, this is bad. Okay? Anything you have to research, you shouldn't be, but if you do, look at Chapter 4 in SCC. That tells you how to incorporate research information. All right. Toodly-doo.